Probably.
It's so weird to think about how you can end up in these situations. Do you know what I mean? Like you're saying, I don't remember the manipulation that got me there, and neither do I. And I don't remember like this crazy romance. I don't remember this I don't remember any of that. It was I don't know. And so it's so weird how you just get there and then you're like, what
just happened? Yeah.
What just happened?
Welcome to the Happy Soul Podcast. My name is Melissa, and this is Sammi. We are diving deep into conversations that connect and inspire. Stories of resilience, triumph, and transformation. Stories that take us to the heart of human connection. Please note that opinions of our guests do not necessarily reflect those of this podcast. Please listen with your kindness and an open mind. Each story shared is authentic and vulnerable. Let's embrace our differences with empathy, knowing every voice enriches us. Together, let's cultivate a community of respect and curiosity. Thank you for listening. Now sit back, relax, and prepare to be inspired.
Welcome to the Happy Soul Podcast, everybody. This is our intro episode to Domestic Violence Awareness Month. It's a heavy topic, and we have been recording episodes for the last month and a bit, and just hearing some of the stories that people have, the things people have gone through, the experiences people have had. It's eye-opening to know, to just hear these stories, and we hope that you listen, even though it's hard. We just really want to raise awareness to this, because one of the things that we've touched with many people about is that it's not a specific demographic. It's not a specific socioeconomic group. It's not a specific race. It's not a specific gender. It is all over the map. And everybody everybody in each one of those areas has been affected in some way, shape, or form. Even Melissa and I have our own stories. Melissa from when she was in her 20s, and me early 20s, and when I was I think I was 19. And so we're going to share a little bit of those with you today, but I don't know. I don't want to say too much because we have a bunch of facts that we're going to come out throughout the month. But, one of the things is I think it's 1 in 6 kids experiences sexual abuse at some point in time. 1 in 6 girls, and I think it's 1 in 20 boys. Is that?
Yeah. That's what mine looks like too. That's the stat that I found too.
Yeah.
It's
shocking.
in
Canada, these are Canadian statistics. So don't be like, oh, it's just the States. No, this is Canadian.
No.
Experiences sexual abuse, and that's not domestic
that's
violence.
Terrifying.
That's sexual abuse specifically, and terrifying, right?
Absolutely terrifying.
And
when I read that stat, I opened my computer I was doing some research, and when I read that stat, I think I had to read it about 4 times because I was like, what? How is it this high? What the hell?
Read it so many times, and also double checking that I'm reading the right information. I'd Googled the right statistic. Yeah,
totally.
And the other statistic that blew my mind was, I think it was only 34% of domestic violence cases are reported. And so the statistics are actually higher because there's such a small percentage that are reported. I know I never reported mine, and many people don't even talk about it because they're and this is again another thing we've learned from so many people is they're afraid of the person who did it. Most of the victims, and I don't like to use that word, but just as an easy way to define it, most of the victims, it is victims, but have a desire to protect the person who abused them, and they don't actually want to speak their name or speak about them or speak out about it because they don't want people to think poorly of that person. And isn't that wild?
It's wild.
In no other situation, if you were at a bar and someone just punched you in the face, you would be like, that person punched me in the face. You would tell everybody, right? But when it's sexual abuse for children, or when it's domestic violence or sexual abuse for adults, either way, but domestic violence, we're afraid of speaking about it because of our fear of being judged for being in a relationship like that. For fear of letting the other person look bad, or fear of shaming the other person's family. It's a crazy thing and heartbreaking to know that so many people are trying to protect those people.
Yeah. And I think one of the things for me about doing an awareness month around domestic violence is just, it's very um, it's insidious, and it's not as obvious as you would think.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be happening to your neighbor and you have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think it's important for people to understand domestic violence, whether you are in a situation or whether you are not, because I think we all need to be armored with what do we do when we start noticing the signs of maybe this is going on, how to protect our children from getting into relationships like that, and giving them the tools of what to do if they do find themselves in a situation like that.
Mm-hmm.
And just to be aware of what is going on around us. I think that there are things that we as onlookers can do that make it worse and that can help. And when you learn more about it, you can be helpful instead of hindering. Because I know people can inadvertently say the wrong things that can really spiral a bad situation worse, and vice versa. So I think it is a really important thing to understand. It's a really important topic to talk about. Yeah, because the statistics are staggering. It's
Yeah.
It's something that we really need to talk about and understand. So
I think one of the most common things I want to say about it is like, I know that like I'm thinking back to like teenage years. And I remember like and this is not related to abuse or anything like that, but I remember I had a friend who was fairly controlling about my life. And I remember whenever I got a new boyfriend, she would be like, I don't like him. He takes you away from me too much. I don't like him. You change. You don't spend as much time with me. I don't like him. And she never liked anybody because I would spend less time with her and more time with them. And I think that reversing that thought process is if you have a friend who used to spend a lot of time with you, used to be really vocal with you, and is suddenly like spending less time with you because they're with their new spouse, it's not a hard red flag, but it's a
might be.
possible red flag. It's a possible red flag that that person is actually pulling them away from their friends. And so when you have someone who's pulling themselves away, when it's a healthy relationship and that person is pulling themselves away from you, like that's a really good reason as a friend to like lean in and be like,
Yeah.
are you okay? Are you like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not even like challenge that relationship, because if they're really happy in that relationship, they're going to take you questioning that relationship as
An
like
attack.
you're an attack. You're not
And
happy
they
for
will.
them, and they'll
Yep.
back away more.
Yep. And they're going to stand up for their partner.
Yeah.
And you're going to push them towards that partner even further, for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I think that's like probably one of the first warning signs I bet you can see from somebody who's in a likely abusive relationship. It's not always like, it could just be that they're madly in love and they're just forgot about their friends, you know, like I've been there. But it can be, you know, if you notice that, start watching for other things, I think would be a big thing to say to people and being helpful.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you and we could talk about so many things, but these episodes are really powerful, and we encourage you to tune in for this month and check them out, because there are some really powerful episodes in here. We've kind of touched on some different stories. We've got you know, some people that have experienced sexual abuse as a child, some people that experienced a physically and sexually abusive relationship as an adult, some people that experienced emotional abuse as an adult. Like there's a range of stories that we're going to hear, and they're really powerful stories, and they're coming from some really incredible people. And yeah, we encourage you to tune in and learn from these people and allow them the space to share their stories, because they are really powerful stories. Do you want to? Oh, go ahead. I was
going to say, quick highlight the episodes that we've got. Like, we won't say everybody and what they are, but like Melissa was saying. So there's one who had experienced childhood sexual abuse as a child. She tells her story, and then another woman who has experienced sexual and domestic abuse as an adult and saw sexual abuse signs on her children, and her children are survivors of that as well. Another person who was a same-sex relationship that had experienced abuse as well in that relationship. Another young woman who shared her story of emotional and fairly close to physical domestic violence in a relationship. We also have Rowan House coming on, which is, if you don't know what Rowan House is, they are a local charity who, a safe house essentially for women and children experiencing abuse, a place for them to go and start getting their lives back on schedule. We haven't actually fully interviewed them yet, but we are chatting with them. And then we have another one that we haven't actually heard her full story yet, but I do know that she came out the other side and has built a hugely successful business for herself after fighting through a
abusive
relationship. Thank you. I lost the words there. So
one thing that I want to say that is a common misconception, to tag on to what you were just saying, a common misconception is that when people hear about domestic violence, they immediately think the movie Enough with is it Jennifer Lopez? It is, isn't it?
I haven't seen it. I don't know.
Oh, maybe my God. What?
A long time ago. Maybe I should watch that as homework.
I think it came out like late 90s, early 2000s. We should look that up.
I'm remembering it as we talk about it now, but
okay. So like I think that it is very common when you hear domestic violence, you think, battered woman, black eye, sunglasses on, broken things, clear physical violent evidence. Mm-hmm. That's what we think of when we think domestic violence, but domestic violence is more than that. It is emotional abuse, it is sexual abuse, it's financial abuse, spiritual abuse. There is a lot that goes under the category of domestic violence that doesn't necessarily mean he's punching you in the face. Like there's a lot more to it than that. Mm-hmm. Because sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I knew I had written this down, but when I was meeting with Rowan House originally, they gave me different types of it. So there's obviously physical abuse and emotional abuse. There's legal abuse, medication abuse, financial abuse, economic abuse, physical abuse, and emotional abuse. And I feel like I'm missing one. So I think I repeated a couple there, but there was I didn't even think about the financial abuse side of it or the legal abuse, medication abuse, which we've heard people speak about already. I'm like, yeah, it's a whole list of it. List of it. So wild. I think Melissa and I are just going to share a little bit about pieces of our story. I'll share mine, I guess.
Yeah, go for it.
We'll go from there. Yeah. Did you say something else?
Yeah. I was just going to say, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say, do you want to go ahead and share your experience with domestic violence with us?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's interesting to say because I feel like when you hear the word domestic, you assume you need to live together. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And for me, it seems funny to be like, oh yeah, it was domestic abuse because we didn't live together.
Certainly was.
But there was aspects of it. And the reason, what made me realize it is, to be truthfully, I didn't realize that it was until I met my husband, because I met him probably 4 or 5 months after that relationship ended. And there was some point in time in mine and my husband's relationship where this is what cued me in. And I was like, oh yeah, okay, he did mess with me a little bit. And I'll tell that story in a minute. My husband is wonderful, but I only dated the guy for about 8 months or so when I was 19. I met him just after my 19th birthday, or around my 19th birthday. Anyways, and when I was with my husband, I remember we were sitting in his car and we were driving, and I was 20, and I was sitting there clearly that cold, when you're cold and you can't actually cuddle up, right? Because you're in a vehicle. I had that. I don't know how I was sitting, but I was clearly cold. And my boyfriend at the time, he goes, "Are you cold?" And I said, "No." And he goes, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "But you look cold." And I was like, "Well, are you cold?" He's like, "No, I'm not cold. But if you're cold, you can turn the heat on." I was like, No, if you're not cold, it's fine. I'm not cold." And he's like, "But if you're cold, turn the heat on." And I was like, No, if you're not cold, it's fine. And he was like, "Turn the heat on." And he reached over and cranked the heat up and opened the vents in front of me. And I was like, warm. He's like, "Warm yourself up. Don't be cold." And I realized that the reason I responded that way was because the person before him, it was if he wasn't cold, I wasn't cold. And it didn't matter how I was feeling. And I remember I was like, oh, okay. It's bananas. It's bananas how you can just be like, "Well, I'm not, so you very clearly are not." It's wild. Anyways, let's go back, because I don't want to. That story with my now husband, there's my key of oh, that person kind of messed me up a little bit. That was my first moment of, huh. So I know,
Oh,
right? Sorry, go ahead. No, go.
I have one too.
Okay.
Oh man, I just remembered mine. Um, so I was in this relationship in my 20s before I met my husband and as well. And I remember the first time, I can't remember what was going on. I think I was meeting Doug's family and he had asked me to go to the grocery store. Like I said, like I was going to his house for dinner. It was very new in the relationship, was going to his house for dinner. And I said, I'd like to bring something. What can I bring? And he said, oh, yeah, it'd be great if you pick up some buns actually on your way, if you could pick up some buns. And I was like, oh, totally. I went to the grocery store and I stood there and I realized now I can look back and say I was having a panic attack. That I didn't know what that was at the time. But I was standing in the grocery store, my palms were sweating, and I was in full panic because I was so afraid to buy the wrong buns. Like I stood in the bun section and I don't know how long I stood there, but I am standing in the grocery store staring at all the buns and literally like shaking and palm sweating because I was so scared. Such a ridiculous
So
thing.
what
Like
happened? Did you just
it's
eventually
freaking
buy some
buns.
buns?
I eventually just grabbed some and I told him about it. I was like, and I'm like, are these okay? Like I didn't really know which kind of buns that you wanted me to get. And he was like, he just looked at me and he was like, they're buns. I don't care. Thanks for bringing the buns. And I was like, oh, right. They're buns. Like it just, but anyway, it's just that moment of standing there, palms sweating. That was my cold moment. That was my moment of like, ooh, that relationship is a little effed up.
Yeah. So yeah, so I want to back up a little bit because
Mhm.
like I know that I've always had pretty high standards for myself, and I think about how I ended up with this person in the first place. And I
Yeah.
think about, I'm like, I know exactly what it was. And it was in high school, I was made fun of. Like, I remember dating a guy and somebody being like, you're dating Sammi? Ew, gross. Like, I remember
Really?
that. Oh, yeah. I remember that. And so didn't feel like I was an attractive person. I didn't feel like there was anything about me that was people cared about. And I remember when I started working at a bar after I graduated high school, everybody hit on me all the time. And I'm not trying to be cocky. It just was. Everybody hit
Yeah.
on me.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of figuring for the first bit, it was like, oh my gosh, like what? And then it kept going and I had to be like, leave me alone. And then there was one guy that came into the bar and he would talk to me, but he would never cross to the flirting line. And I
Mm.
realized I suddenly had this challenge to find out if he thought I was attractive or not.
And that
And
was him?
that was him. Yeah.
Oh my
And like I remember mentally kind of recognizing that. And then
God.
so I tried to get to know him more so that I could learn this. And how it started was I was going to go traveling and my plan was to go to Egypt. And I really wanted to go to Egypt. And I was learning all this stuff about how you shouldn't go alone, especially as a blonde female and blah, blah, blah.
Mm.
And I remember talking about this, and this guy was like, I want to go to Egypt. I love traveling, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, cool. Like, it'd be great to go with someone that I could travel with, especially as a male. And so I was like, go get to know him, and then I'd be safe in Egypt. And so for the first few months of our relationship, it was like, well, it didn't start as a relationship. Obviously, it was just a getting to know person. And then somewhere along the line, it changed into a relationship. I have no idea where. Because it was only 8 months, so it wasn't super long. But
Yeah.
it I found out, and I don't know when this all happened, but like early on it was like, okay, so he was going to go traveling with me. So in my mind, he's got money to travel. He lived on his own with a roommate. He had his own business. And so I was 19 and he was 27. So there was also an age gap. He had his own business, very cocky kind of. And when I remember the first time he invited me over to his house, and I go to his house and I realize he does live on his own, but he lives with a roommate who lives with his mom. So like he lived with his friend's mom. Like it wasn't like his mom, they had a house and his mom lived with them. He moved in with his friend's mom and didn't really pay rent. Maybe he did. I
Oh,
don't remember that part. I don't remember. Maybe the rent thing's not true, but I just remember when I went there and I was like,
this
you
is a
don't live on
different
your
picture.
own. Like you live with your friend's mom. It's not the same. It's not the same.
Yeah.
And then I also remember when I found out about his business, which was, I won't say what the
You
business
did
was. I shouldn't have done that. But it was a business. I shouldn't have done that. But when I found out about it, it was like, oh, he actually doesn't work. Like, it's random bits and pieces here and there that he picks up, and actually he can't afford anything. He has no money. And then I find out he has no money, and he's been telling me that we're going to go on this Egypt trip in that November. We were supposed to go that November.
Oh my God.
And so I'm like, so like, I don't remember when this all came out, but I finally realized he doesn't actually live on his own. He's been lying. And he doesn't really, like, he has a business, but he doesn't really have a business. And he actually has no money, even though he was telling me that he was going to go on this Egypt trip with me. And so I don't know when all of this transpired, but I know that whenever it was that I found out that he had no money was when I was like, okay, like, I don't know if this is going anywhere. But there was, and I can't pinpoint all the little things in there that were like, things that I can't pinpoint, like what made me afraid to be cold in the car and all of those things. But I do know, again, near the end of the relationship, there were times when, like, he was scary. Like, there was, I'll tell this one story. So there was a time, and I think it was before I had fully decided that the relationship should be over, and he had to move back in with his dad because he couldn't pay his rent at the other house. I think that's what it was. So he was paying rent. He couldn't pay his rent there. So he had to move back in with his dad. And he was living with his dad, and I know this must have been near the end of the relationship, and I feel like he wasn't interested in me, and so I was trying to he was very much into gaming, and I tried to test his interest, and so I like put on some lingerie, and he was like, "Not now, I'm in the middle of a quest," and he was like playing I don't know, whatever online, and I remember just being like, "Are you kidding me? Like, what?" Oh my God.
This is not something you expect from you. You expect to hear from a 20-something.
Right?
Like,
27.
Oh,
and then,
dear.
so I don't remember the order of all of these things. But
oh, no.
But then also, so when I found out he had no money, so we weren't going to Egypt in November, I was like, well, I'm freaking going somewhere. I was like, I'm going somewhere in November. I've got my mindset on going somewhere. I'm going somewhere in November. So I was like, well, I'm going to go on a trip. I'm going to take us somewhere. So I was looking up the prices of things, and I remember I'm sitting at his dad's house.
Wait. Did you just say what I think you just said? Did you
What?
just say, I'm going to take us somewhere?
100%. Yep.
You were going to pay for him?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
This was my choice. He didn't push me as far as I remember. Maybe there was some mental manipulation. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure it was my choice.
My God. Okay, keep going.
But and also somewhere in here, I don't know when this happened. At some point in time, he had to renew his truck registration, and I was there with him when he went to do it, and he had a bunch of tickets, and so he couldn't. He had like $2,800, I think, that he owed in whatever, whether it was tickets or speeding tickets. I can't remember. I don't remember. And so he couldn't afford to renew his truck. And if you don't pay those tickets once you're in the registry, that you can go to jail for not paying these tickets. At least that's what he told me. I don't know. You're muted. I don't know if you know this, but
I just had a what? Oh my God. Oh,
and
my
so
palms are
I'm
sweating
sitting
again.
there.
Keep going.
So he walks out. We're sitting at the registry, and he walks out. He's like, oh, I don't know what to do, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I'll just pay the tickets. Like, I'm not going to be the one who sends you to jail. And anyway, so I ended up paying this $2,800. And the way that I am with money is, first off, I'm really good with money. But if I choose to pay for something for someone, I never expect to see that money back. I could hope to see it back, but I'm like, even if they're like, I'll pay you back, I am never in the mindset of I expect to be paid back. It's just, that's just what it is. I'm choosing to give that money, and if it gets paid back, friggin' fantastic. So I paid this $2,800, and he was like, I'll pay you back. And I didn't believe him because I knew he had no money, but I was like, I can't be the reason that you go to jail, even if I don't like you anymore. Anyways, I mean, maybe I still did at that time. I'm not sure.
Oh my God.
So there's that. So he's this $2,800. So there's that. And then we're at his dad's house. So I'm talking about going on a trip, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, Cuba's pretty cheap. I can take us to Cuba. Like, let's go to Cuba. And I go onto itravel2000.com, and I find like $1,600 round trip to take two of us to Cuba for 7 days or whatever. I don't remember how much it was. It was cheap though. And I was like, yeah, let's go to Cuba. And he was like, what is itravel2000.com? Like, I've never even heard of this. It's probably a scam. And I was like, you've never heard the song on the radio? itravel2000.com. Dial 1-866 wow deal. And he's like staring at me. And I was like, well, I'm going to Cuba. So are you coming? And so he comes, and the whole trip, Everything
Oh
was
my
just the
God.
worst. Everything was the worst.
Wait. Hold the frickin' phone here.
Yeah.
How did I not know? I did not know that you guys went to Cuba together.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hold on a minute. Wait, are you telling me you paid this guy's tickets?
Uh-huh.
Then you pay for him to go to Cuba and he complains
The
the whole
whole
time?
time. The whole time.
Oh my God. The audacity. Come
Whole
on,
freaking time.
bud. Oh
So
my God.
yeah, and then I remember this one time when we were there. I just remember he was complaining the whole time. I just remember being like, "Dude, like you're in Cuba for free. Stop." But so like
Oh
I
my
was pretty
God.
done at a lot of this, but I just hadn't. I think I was done before we actually went on the trip, but I already bought the tickets, so we were
Oh my
going.
God.
And I remember we were going on a tour, and we were waiting for the tour bus to come, and he walks up. He's like, "I'll go check to see if this is our tour bus." And he goes up and he's trying to ask if this is the right tour bus. And he comes back so pissed. He's like, "Can't even speak English. Like, how am I supposed to go?" I'm like, "You're in Cuba. Like, what are you talking about?"
Oh my God.
I was like, I'll go ask." And so I go up and I find out, and it's not the right bus. I'm like, "No, we need this bus." And he's like, "Oh, they can't even speak English, blah, blah, blah." And I was like,
No shit.
"No shit, you came to Cuba. Like, what?" And so he was so
Oh
mad.
my God.
Anyways, so those are the funny ones. So I don't know.
Listen, somebody buys me a trip to Cuba. Sammy, if you bought me a trip to Cuba, I would annoy you with how excited I would be over every stupid little detail. I'd be excited about the sugar cubes, for God's sake. Are you kidding me?
He was so mad. So
What
mad.
an
So grumpy.
annoying asshole.
And
Sorry, keep going.
It's okay. I don't know if it was before or after we went to Cuba, but he's living with his dad because he can't pay rent at this other house or whatever, right? And his dad finds out we're going to Cuba or went to Cuba. I can't remember. And his dad was pissed. He was like, "You can afford a trip to Cuba. You need to get out of this house, blah, 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 or pay rent, blah, blah, blah." His dad's all mad.
God.
And so he's so mad. And I remember hearing his dad be mad at him. And his dad got up super early in the morning because he was, I won't say what he was. His dad got up super early in the morning. So I knew, and I was like, I need to talk to his dad and I need to do it alone. Like, he can't be here. And so I got up early in the morning and sat in his dad's kitchen waiting for his dad to come into the kitchen to come talk. And I was like, I don't remember the whole conversation, but I just sat down and I was like, "I just need you to know, he does have no money. You're right. But I'm paying for this Cuba trip. This is all on me. He's not paying for any of it." So like, and I remember being like, "Your issues with him are valid and I'm not trying to diminish that. I just want you to know that financially, he's not contributing to that. That's me." And I just remember he told me later that his dad came out to him and was like, "Your girlfriend who's 19 is way more mature than you are. Like, she's got it together. You got to figure it out," or something like
Oh
that.
my
I was
God.
like, "Thanks, Dad. Thanks, Dad."
Oh my God.
Anyways, those are the funny ones. So not people are like, "This isn't domestic violence. This is just an asshole." So let's go forward. So near the end of the relationship, there was a period of time. I remember I bartended at this time, and they were it was called a sock hop at a local hall nearby. And a bunch of my friends were going to be there. They're all my friends. Like, I've gone snowboarding with these people. I've gone, like, one of them's a girlfriend and her boyfriend, and all these people I know really well.
This is all like Gitter's crew, right?
Yeah, all Gitter's crew.
Gitter's land? Okay.
People we talked about in Gitter's episodes that are wonderful people. And so the bar I was at closed early, and I went to the sock hop. And I think he met me there. And he left right away. He was mad about something. I don't remember what. And he left. And me and my friend's boyfriend, my good friend's boyfriend, both had to go to the bathroom. And the bathrooms at this place, like, you had to leave the hall we were in and go down. And there was a hall, and you went down the hall, and then the bathrooms, like, split across from each other. Okay. Memorial Center is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Like, the
I was
bathrooms
trying to
like
put that together. I was like, what?
Literally right across the hall from each other. So he's like, "Me too." And he's like, "You want to go together?" I'm like, "Sure." So we, like, link arms and we skip all the way to the hallways.
Rick?
And, like, he goes in the boys and I go to no, this is Randy.
Oh.
So my good friend's boyfriend at the time, like,
oh, right. Okay.
right? Like, I'm really good friends with her,
Yeah.
and this is her boyfriend. So pretty safe. And he goes to the bathroom and I go to my bathroom, and we go to the bathroom and we come back out and we walk normally back into the hall together. And I think he was texting or calling me a bunch, like, angrily at the time. And eventually I was like, "I'm gonna go home." And now at this time I drove, but I didn't have a car. And I always would walk home, and I must have been living at there was a period of time when I had left the house, my roommate, and I was moved back in with my mom for like 2 months when I was in between houses. And I know this because I had to walk from the Memorial Center back to my mom's house, which is all the way across town. And it's about a 35-minute walk in this small town.
Yeah.
And I remember we're in a small town, so streets are not busy. There's pretty much nobody on them, and it's middle of the night. Like, it's probably midnight, 1 a.m. or so by the time I start walking home, which is a normal thing for me. It doesn't freak me out. That's just High River.
Right.
I did it all the time when I got off work. And so I was walking, and gosh, maybe this was even earlier on in our relationship, now that I think about it, because I was still living in Prairie Sound when we broke up. So it must have been earlier on in our relationship that this happened, actually. This must have been early on. Now that I say this, it must have been early on because of where I lived. So here's a red flag for you. I'm going to going through on this one. Yeah, it had to have been early on if I was going to my mom's house. It was, early on for sure. Anyways, so I was walking home, and he was calling me. Calling and calling and calling and calling, and I was ignoring it.
Also a red flag.
Also a red flag. I was ignoring it.
One time is fine.
Yeah. And I remember I can't remember if I finally picked up the phone or if he sent me a text message that encouraged me to pick up the phone. I can't remember what it was. But either way,
very kind way of saying
when
it.
When I was on the encouraged.
Yeah.
When I was on the phone, he said, "Where are you?" And I was like, "I'm not telling you. I'm walking home." And he was like, "Where are you?" And I was like, "I'm not telling you." He was like, "You better tell me where you are, because if you don't want to know what's going to happen. You don't want to find out what's going to happen if I find you first." And
I'm sorry. What?
He was angry. And I was in High River. No one else is on the streets. There's only so many streets you can walk down to get to the house I'm going to. Like,
how far are you from home at this point?
I was by your house.
Oh, so, my God. You got a ways to go still.
Yeah. So, like, not your house, obviously, but that main drag that goes towards Emerson Lake.
Yeah.
Right? I was on that main, that main road.
Picturing that.
Somewhere.
Holy
I remember, because I remember
Were you
looking.
Scared?
Oh, I was terrified. I remember looking up at the lake and seeing, like, how long. And I remember thinking there was this brief moment of process, like, how long is it going to take me to get home? I don't know where he is right now. What are the chances that I can get home before he finds me? And I was like, it's too risky. And I remember telling him where I was because I was way too scared of what was going to happen if he found me.
Oh my God. Okay.
And that must have been early on.
Folks at home, remember when we talked at the beginning about being afraid to report?
Uh-huh.
I'm not telling you were wrong here, because like I have been in situations where I'm like, definitely should have called the police. That should have been like a direct, I'm phoning the police.
100%.
I have just been threatened. It's the middle of the night. I'm walking home. I need a police officer here right now.
Yeah, I should have been like
100% should have called the cops on the motherfucker.
Yeah, I should have been like, I'm not telling you, and immediately dialed 911 and said, I'm walking alone. This is where I am. My boyfriend just threatened me, and I'm scared. Like, is 100%. What I should have done, but I didn't.
100%. Or the Gitters crew, because they all come out and.
Well, they were all drunk.
Kick some ass.
What would I have done? So then he picks me up.
Oh my God.
And he parks the car.
Oh my God. And like, I'm sorry. I'm still processing the fact that the safety net was tell him where I am so that he's less mad.
I know.
Oh my God.
So messed up.
And I'm not judging you, because like I have been in situations that make you go, oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
But like, why does our brain do that? Like, why are we so afraid to like, anyways, I'm sorry. Keep going. Oh my God. So you've told him where you are. He's picked you up. You're in his vehicle now.
Yeah. And obviously you're like programmed at this point, because like a normal person would be like, are you crazy? And
fuck off.
Fuck off. Get out of here. Right. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, I don't want to be mad at me. Like, what happens? And you're scared. Like, what is he going to do if he finds me? Like, I'm alone on all these streets. It's dark. Like, and no part of you was like, this person's crazy, I should call the cops, because for some reason you care about this person and you think that they won't hurt you even though you're scared of them.
Yeah. Or that it'll hurt their feelings if you phone the police on them because they threatened you.
Yeah. I don't even know. But I remember that. And so
he
gets me in the car, And he starts screaming at me, like screaming and yelling at me because these friends of mine are horrible people. These friends are toxic. They are dangerous. I shouldn't be hanging out with them. I'm probably sleeping with one of them. Like all of these things. They're just bad people. And I'm like, I have known them way longer than I've known you. Like, what are you talking about? And it's just bad mouthing all these people, screaming and yelling at them. And eventually I got him to take me home, and I went back home, and that was that.
And did he stay the night with you, or
oh my
were
gosh,
you just
no.
like, drop me off?
No, I just went home. And then, so there was that. And that was probably, no, that's not the scaredest I ever was of him, but that was the first one. And then, like I said, that must have been earlier on in the relationship because of where I was living at the time. And then fast forward to like the Cuba trip and all that kind of stuff. And then I remember there was a time and I was working, and I can't remember what was happening, but he came in there and he wanted me to come hang out with him or something. And I was like, no, like I'm going to stay here. And he was convinced I was sleeping with everybody around. And he comes up and he gets all mad because I said, no, I want to go to this thing that all these other people are going to. And he's, well, who's going to be there? And so I list off these people who's going to be there. And he goes, oh, I get it. And he like slams his hand on the bar. Sorry, that was so loud in someone's ears. Slams his hand on the bar in front of me and like leans over and like screams at me. Thank goodness my bartender, Kyla, that we had that lovely episode about, she grabbed him by the scruff of his shirt and pulled him up over the bar and yelled at him for whatever she said, and like didn't throw him, but like put him backwards. Like he landed on his feet, but like put him backwards. It was like, get out of here. And he left. And then we went on that Cuba trip at some point in time. And I decided when I got back, I knew it was over. I remember we were at a Christmas party for the pub, and I was sitting in a chair, and Sue, Desiree, and somebody else, maybe it was you, but Sue, Desiree, and somebody else, I was sitting in this chair, and he hadn't come to the Christmas party, and they all leaned over and looked at me and were like, you need to end this. And I was like, I know, I'm working on it. They were like, he's crazy. You need to get out of this. And I was like, I know, I'm working on it.
I came into the picture just after that.
Because
I don't think you guys were dating when I started working, because I have a clear memory of starting at the bar and all of them being like, by the way, we're watching out for this motherfucker. And like, that was one of my first lessons, was like, we're watching for him and he is not allowed in here. And like, if he comes in here, you send him out. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I had that lesson. That's really funny.
Yeah. And not even just from our bosses, but like from all of our friends.
Oh,
like,
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. They were everybody had their eye open and they were watching. Because I think when I started, it may have been, or it was just around the time where you were breaking up with him. Because I remember the walking story, which I think you're going to tell next.
Oh, yeah.
But that story, I think I just started at the bar.
Oh, okay.
When that's happened. And then it was like, by the way, this guy's not going to come in here anymore.
Yeah. So there's like, I'm trying to think, before I tell this part, there was like other pieces, I'm sure, along the way that he was abusive. Like I remember, like at first he was like, no, I don't really smoke weed. And then all of a sudden he started smoking weed all the time. And I was like, I thought you don't really smoke weed. And he was like, I can do what I want. And it was all of a sudden I was the bad guy. And I was like, oh. This was a conversation I had early on, because I don't have any desire to be around someone who does drugs. So there's lots of lying. I also remember at one point him saying, this is like classic, something about like the world is going crazy and if you stick with me, you'll be safe. Like that, it was like that classic line of like, I'm the only one that matters, right? Yeah. And my family sorry, go ahead.
I'm the only one that's normal. I'm the only one that can keep you safe, and I'm the only one that matters.
Yeah, 100%. I remember him saying that.
I also remember textbooks about this.
Yeah, it's like that classic textbook. And then there was also a time where I was still bartending, and he was like, I could never marry someone who's a bartender. And I remember being like, you don't even have a job. Like, you don't even make money. I paid your parking tickets. Like, what are you talking about? But it hit me when he said that. I remember being like, oh,
motherfucker.
yeah. And that stuck with me. Like, I remember thinking that even when I started dating my husband, like, oh, he could never marry me. I'm a bartender. Like, that was, like, it's just like they're talking bad. All of my friends were bad influences. All my family was bad influences. Like, I remember my family telling me that I had pulled away, and friends, you had pulled away. You didn't hang out with us. You never spent time with us anymore. Like, I remember all of those things, those people saying that to me after I left.
Thank God you got out when you did. Hey,
I know, right? Good Lord. And then, so when we broke up, I don't remember the story of breaking up. I don't remember. Honestly, I probably did it via text message because I was too scared of the dude. But,
fair.
right. There was
absolutely fair.
two
That's
instances,
called keeping yourself safe.
right? There was two instances. I know when Mona said that she did it at least on a phone call, I was like, good for you. I mean, maybe I did a phone call. I don't remember. But there was three, but two. I remember after we broke up, people would, like, this is probably when you came around, because they kept seeing him. He'd circle the bar. Like, they'd see his truck circle the pub, and he would just be doing laps around the pub. And people would come and be like, hey, he's parked outside, just so you know. Like, don't take the garbage out. Don't go outside. He's parked outside. And so then I'd send other people to do those things. Like, I wouldn't leave. And that happened a handful of times, that he would be parked outside the pub, or he would circle the pub. I remember there was one time that I was closing the bar, and I think the cook whoever was cooking that night went to leave, and they came back and they were like, just so you know, he's parked out behind the bar, just sitting in his car. Like, just so you know. But and the bar was empty. It was like, so I may have been the only person there. So I think they stayed with me. And then they stayed until he left. And then, another time that he had circled the bar, and I don't remember. This was like, he'd done it numerous times. And this time my dad happened to be at the pub too. And he doesn't come in very often. He'd come in and have like 1 or 2 beers every once in a while just to like visit. And my dad happened to be there. And somebody came in and said, like, he's outside the bar. And other people heard. And all my friends smoked at the time. So I remember, like, Max went out, and Jeff went out, and Randy went out, and Paul went out, and my dad went out. And they were out there for a little while. And then one by one, they all come back in. And then somebody, I don't remember who it was, somebody said, he won't come back again. And I was like, what'd you guys do? They're like, nothing. I was like, what do you mean? What did you nothing? And I've asked my dad, I'm like, what did you do? He's like, I didn't do anything. And I'm like, I don't. And then now it's been years. He probably doesn't remember, but I don't know what they did or what they said, but he never did come back to the pub. He never did.
Good.
But then, so this is how I know, because I lived in a house near the pub, and then I moved out, and I moved home for a bit. And then in the May, I moved into Prairie Sound. So and Prairie Sound is like on the other end of High River. And so I was living there when we broke up. And I used to my walk to work was about 45 minutes. And there was this one spot where when you walk through it, it's like two fences on either side, fully treed. It's fully dark. There's no lights. There's no nothing. There's nobody there. And I used to walk that at night. And there was like another bar further on. So like it was only a short stint where you were actually by yourself. But also after you came out of that, you came by the golf course, and like one side had a big ravine of water and one side was fenced and treed. And so I used to walk that to work and back from work at night. During the day to get to work, and at night to come home. Sometimes I would take a cab, but most of the time I walked. And
girl,
this one time, and his mom lived in another part of the golf course. And I remember I was walking to work, and I had to cross this street, and I go to cross the street, and he drove this specific vehicle. And out of the corner of my eye, I could see that this vehicle waiting, like allowing me to cross the road, was very similar to his vehicle. And I was like, don't look at, and I always look at, like, when I'm crossing a road, I always look at drivers. Like, I'm always like, you stop, we're good, you see me? Like, I always do that. And I could see that this could potentially be his vehicle. And I was like, just don't look, just cross the road, just don't look. And so I crossed the road, and this person was signaling to turn right, and I was going to their left. And so once I crossed, this vehicle instead turned left to follow me down the road. And it was him, and he'd rolled down his window, and he was yelling obscenities out at me as I walked along the sidewalk. He was driving like at my pace, yelling obscenities at me. And then there was an alleyway that I had to cross again. So I had to cross an alleyway, and he pulled in front of me crossing the road. He was in that alley. He pulled in front of me, so he cut off my path, and he started continuing yelling at me. And I didn't acknowledge him. I just walked around his vehicle, and he got out and followed me down this pathway. He was following me, yelling things at me. I don't remember what, but they were just horrible, mean things. And my next stop was either to go directly to the golf course or to walk down this pathway with the water ravine on one side and like a part where there's just like fences and trees and nothing on the other, in the middle. And I remember thinking, do I go to the golf course or do I walk down this path? And for whatever reason, I should have gone to the golf course, but I didn't. I started walking down this path, and I remember just thinking like, please don't follow me. Please don't follow me. Please don't follow me. And I remember thinking to myself, if he does start to follow me, I'm going to jump. It was just a little fence. I'm going to jump this fence and go to the golf course. Like I'm just going to walk a little ways. And if he starts following me, I'm going to go straight to the golf course. I'm not going to continue down this path because I don't want to be alone in that like fenced treed area by myself while he's following me. He followed a bit, but
is this, sorry, I'm trying to, is this after work or before work? This is
before work. So it was daytime.
Okay.
It was still daytime.
Okay. Keep going.
No, it's okay. And he followed me a bit, but not really. And he stopped and he walked back to his vehicle, and I walked on to work. And I remember when I walked the rest of the way to work, which probably another 20 minutes to work, 25 minutes. And I got there, and that's the story I told about Max. When I went, and I just cried in his office. Because I just like, I was so scared, and I don't even remember what he was saying. I don't even think it was the mean things that he was saying that got to me. It was just how terrified I was of the situation.
And how threatening he was being. Like, yeah. I have heard you tell this story before, and every time you tell this story, I'm like, my heart is in my throat. Like, I'm like, that could have turned to a different kind of sideways real quick.
Absolutely.
Like, if that was at night?
Yeah.
When you were making that walk?
I don't even want to know. I think I took cabs a lot after that for a while. I hope
you took a cab every single time after that.
I don't remember. But I definitely took cabs a lot or rode my bike.
Oh my God.
And then, so there's that story. I have one more. Two more. Actually, that's not true. I have more than that.
So scary. And that's another one. And I'm not saying, why didn't you, Sammi? Why didn't you call the police? But like, I would love to talk to like a psychotherapist or something about this, because like I said, I have been in these situations too, where definitely a police should have been called. But in a situation like that, there you are planning hopping over the fence. You have a cell phone in your pocket. You could have on the spot called the police and said, this guy's following me, screaming at me. I need you here right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, absolutely would have been valid to call the police. But did it even cross your mind?
No. You know what's even wilder to me is
why?
When I think about this, is you think, oh, like you just didn't know better. But when I was about 15, I dated a guy. We didn't really date. It was 15, maybe 16.
Held hands and went out.
Yeah. Like went to the movies a couple times, maybe kissed him. And I was dating a guy, and I broke up with him because he was crazy. And he one time showed up at the house and like paced the front porch, knocking on the door, like trying to get me to answer. And we obviously didn't. And like my family, my sister was home, and my brother, I think, maybe my mom, I can't remember, but we obviously didn't. He was there for hours. And I think I can't remember if my mom called the cops or not or whatever, but eventually he left. And then he sent me an email, basically like if I wouldn't get back together with him, he was gonna kill himself. So he was like threatening these things for me, and I immediately called the police. I was like I remember having to go sit in the office and give a testimony of this whole situation. So like I did know better.
Yes, but
I did know.
You have such a big heart, Sammi. You didn't call the police when he was pacing your steps. You called the police when he threatened violence on himself.
Yeah.
Just pointing that out. It wasn't until it was unselfish.
Yeah.
It wasn't until it was about him.
Yeah.
That you called.
And then
I don't know why we do that. And I'm not saying,
right?
I'm not trying to single you out.
No.
Because like I said, I've been in these situations, not like that, but there have been situations where I certainly could have called the cops and didn't. And like, why does our brain, it's not even like you chose not to. It's like it didn't even come into your brain that was an option to do in that moment. But now looking back on it, like, what would you tell your daughter to do?
Oh, 100% call the cops.
Like, whoa.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's so
Anyways,
crazy.
keep going.
And I just remember that other guy, like, then he sent me another email all pissed because the cops came to his place of work and, like,
well, no
told
shit.
him. And I'm like, well, like, you're the one who sent me an email, man. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Anyways, I think they got a restraining order against that guy, actually. But
oh my God.
anyways, so the next story was there was another night where we were at a different bar. And I wasn't drinking at this other bar. We were at the I was going to call it by the nickname. We were at the Beef and Brew. I was about to say the Barf and Spew because that's what we all called it.
Gross.
We were there, and I was then again there with all those same friends, like that same core group of friends. And he was there. And I remember going to the bathroom at one point, and he was yelling at me. But it was like crowded enough that I was able to slip into the bathroom by myself.
Post breakup?
Post breakup. Yeah, this is all post breakup now. And I remember coming out, and then I just like huddled next to my friends. Like I was like, I can't be alone. Like I have to be next to them, but I didn't want to leave by myself either. So and I also didn't want to be like I also didn't want to make a scene with my friends and be like, he's here and he's being creepy. So I just like stayed close, and it was. I don't remember the whole story, but there was a bunch of tables in front of me, and I was standing in front of these tables, and my friends were beside me, and they were kind of in a conversation. And he came up behind me, and I just like pretended I didn't know he was there. And he just elbowed me really hard in the back and shoved me over these tables. Like I remember I shoved forward.
What?
Yeah, lurched the two tables forward, like smashed my thighs into the tables, and he'd elbowed my back. And everyone's like, "What just happened?" And I was like, "Nothing." And they were like, "Did he push you?" And I was like, "Nope." And I wouldn't tell them because I knew that all of them would go after him.
It would be like a full-on small town bar brawl.
100%. I knew they were all going to go pound the crap out of him, which like he fully would have deserved, but I didn't. And then he was outside, and we were same night we were leaving, and it was a big glass door, and the door opened, swung on the right. And he was on that side of the door, and my friends walk through, and I walk through, and he's banging on the glass, yelling and screaming obscenities at me, just saying horrible things. And the people I was with did hear that at that point in time, and they were like, "We're gonna go kick his ass. We're gonna go beat him." I was like, "No, just like let's just keep going. Like just leave it." And they were like, "No," and I remember like literally pushing them back with me, and I was like, "Don't, just leave it. Let's just keep walking. Like it's just gonna make it worse. Like let's just go." And they were like that's what I mean. They were ready to fight him for just yelling at me. They didn't even know he'd hit me. And then when we were walking further on, they said it was him that pushed you, wasn't it? And I finally was like, yeah, it was. And they're like, why didn't you tell us? Like we would, and they were like, oh, obviously we would have gone and kicked his ass and blah, blah, blah. And then one night I was working, and his lovely parent came in to the bar and started yelling at me for how dare I break up with her son. And I went into the back of I walked through like the doors into the kitchen where like customers are not supposed to go, trying to think that person wouldn't follow me. And they followed me in, and they were standing in the kitchen, continuing to yell at me, telling me how I was so horrible, and all he tried to do was love me, and I rejected his love, and how dare I break his heart that way, blah, 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 yelling at me. And I just stared at her, and I was like, you can't be in here. You can't be in here. Like, you need to leave. You can't be in here. And they just kept yelling at me, and eventually they walked back out. But just like, so even like their parent was like, they're so great. Continue to date my son.
Oh my God.
And then, hold the phone. So that was all the physical things. But then remember how Mona was saying like all these times that the person kept reaching out? I don't remember how many times it happened with my phone number. But at a certain point, I changed my phone number because I was getting so many messages and phone calls and text messages from this person. At a certain point, I changed my phone number. And then I had to block them on Facebook because same thing. They kept trying to message me on Facebook. And then I remember, because this person, like you said, wasn't allowed in the pub. And one day he walked in and everyone was on guard, and he was like, and he just walked in and like handed a piece of paper to me. And he was like, that's for you. And he left. And it was like it was a check for half the money that I had paid for those fines. And he said the rest is coming later. And I mean, I didn't even believe that I could cash the check, but I took it to the bank and it was all the money. And then and then he found me on Facebook again, messaged me. I can't remember how he got me. He did end up paying me the rest of the money. I don't remember how he got it to me, but he did end up paying it to me. So anyways, got me the money. I changed my phone number. I'd blocked him on Facebook. I'd stopped hearing from him after he'd paid me this money or whatever. And then I remember when I was with my husband, I remember walking, I'd changed my phone number. And I was in at his mom's, my husband's, well, it was my husband. He was my boyfriend at his house. And all of a sudden this text message comes in and it's him. And he sent this message saying, "Hey, Sammi, it's so-and-so." And this, I don't remember what it was, but I just remember freezing in the moment, like just staring at my phone and being
How
like,
would he have gotten that phone number?
I have no idea. I
Oh,
have no idea. I just stared at it.
that's chilling.
Yeah. I never
How
responded.
could he get that phone number?
I don't know.
Because there's nobody that we know that would willingly give it to him.
I don't know.
Ew.
But he got it.
What a creep.
I did not answer. I just left it. And then when I was 27, which is the age that he was when I dated him, he found me on Facebook again and sent me a message basically being like, "Oh, you're the age that I was when we started dating."
Ew.
And blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Sent me this big long message on Facebook about how I was now the age that he, like, whatever he said.
Like, okay.
And I feel like another one later because I didn't have kids when I was 27. I was pregnant with my daughter when I was 27. But I feel like another one because I feel like I got another one from him one time saying like, "Oh, now you have kids just like you always wanted, blah, blah, blah."
Ew.
So like this
like,
carried on for
get
years.
the hint. Like, stop, bud.
Yeah.
Ew, that is so. So, like, that wasn't that long ago.
I mean, it was 9 years ago now.
Oh, I guess. But
But
that's
we
like,
dated
you dated for 8 months. How many years? Like, until that message came
17 years ago. We dated for 8 months, 17 years ago.
and you still get stuff like, ew.
I mean, obviously it's been a long
That
time
is
now, but
so creepy.
isn't that wild? Like, why do you keep finding me, man? Like, what? Anyway, so that was my story. That was my experience.
Oh, God, that is so. I knew some of those stories. I didn't know all of those stories. I'd also completely forgotten about the beef and brew until you mentioned it. I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot about that place.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
God, that is so bananas. I just can't. Like, I would love somebody with some sort of psychological, tell us why we are apprehensive to call the authorities or to turn these people in. Like, I don't understand it. I don't. Because like what's wild to me is you and I sitting here and I haven't experienced anything to that level. But I've certainly been in situations where I could have called the police. But you are so much more, I take no bullshit than I am. Like, so like, it happens. The fact that happens to both of us is like, what is it? What is it that
Yeah.
doesn't allow us to even go there? Like,
It's weird how they can
so
twist your,
wild.
like, I'm mind boggled that I ever ended up there because like you'd think,
Totally.
like I think anybody listening would be like, "Oh, well, now she takes no bullshit." I'm like, no.
No, no.
Like in high school, I ran into my grade 3 teacher
Mhm.
during COVID, my grade 3-4 teacher, and my 15-month-old at the time had headbutted me and given me a black eye, like a full on black eye. And I ran into her and I was like, "FYI, this is from my kid and not my husband." And she's like, "Oh, I assumed because there's no way that you would take any shit from somebody." Like my grade
Right?
3 teacher
Yeah.
knew that about me. So
Yeah.
like how, and then I remember in high school, like telling teachers off and calling them on
Yeah.
for being assholes and standing up for people. I remember elementary school, some girl wanted to beat up my brother and I like put my brother on my back and like stood up to her, even though she was way bigger than me.
Mhm.
Like I've never been that kind of person. So how on earth I was that person for 7-8 months? I have no
Yeah.
idea.
You know what? And that just goes to show, like, I think sometimes if somebody doesn't have experience in a domestic violence situation, um, they may think that it's only people that are more submissive or a weaker person that gets into these relationships, and it is simply not true. In
Mm-hmm.
fact, it has that has been debunked so far as to say that some of these individuals will seek out, like they seek out stronger people. It's something to do with their game that they play. They seek out people that are strong, that will stand up for themselves, that like there's something about it. It is not a it's not weak people that get into relationships like this.
Yeah. Even I just remember that he said this earlier on. I just
Mm.
remember this early on in dating. I can't remember what the conversation was, but something about, I think I had told him something about how what I said at the beginning, where like everyone else was hitting on me and he wasn't. And he was like, "Oh, I know." Like, I don't remember what he said verbatim, but it was like, "Oh, I know." Like, I knew by like not paying attention to you that you would pay attention to me. Like, or
Oh
something like that. Like, it was like
my God.
he knew and he was playing the game that way on purpose. Like, I don't remember
Oh
what
my
his
God.
words were, but I remember being like, rude. Like,
Like he exhibits some of the most like bookmark telltale characteristics. He was doing the things like they have written textbooks about this motherfucker. Sorry,
mm-hmm.
mom. But right? Like they have written textbooks about this guy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy. Do you know what one of my red flags was right at the
What?
beginning? And I hesitate to even say this because it's gonna sound like I'm disproving what I just said earlier. Um, it is incredible. The red flags when you look back on them afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
It is incredible the things that we dismiss because we decide they don't really need it.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a boyfriend that I had, like we talked earlier. I
Yeah.
was 20 something. I was very young. And he said to me that he feels powerful when he makes other people cry. And I stayed. What? Like, run, girl. Somebody says something like that to you. That is all kinds of fucked up, and you
Yeah.
get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Like, that is not something to stick around. Oh, I wonder where this is gonna go.
Right.
What? Like,
But I'm
run.
sure that you meant, oh, he
Doesn't
doesn't need
matter.
me. He means like in
I
a
just thought,
different situation.
you know what? If I try to tap back into where my head was at, no, that wasn't. I just didn't believe him. I was just like, well, no, nobody feels like that.
Mm,
Like I didn't believe him. I thought I either didn't believe him or I felt responsible to help him heal that.
mm,
Like there was a big element of like, well, I'm gonna make him better. I'm gonna help him, you know.
because you have such a big heart.
Thank you. Like there were so many moments where I just in that relationship that I look back on and I'm like, Lord, girl, what were you doing? But I was just I don't know, trying to help him, trying to make him better. I don't know. But like it's hard now because there's been so much time, so much has gone on in between that I don't remember like I don't remember the good stuff. Like I don't really remember. I guess I can remember some things, but like you just remember these stories and you're like,
Yeah.
ugh, what was I doing that?
Yeah. You know, like I can't even,
What was I thinking? Was
it's,
I'm gonna ask a hard-hitting question here.
mm-hmm,
You like those, so I'm just gonna go for it.
I do.
What was he like with sex?
Like, did he like it or did he not like it? Like, is that what
Was
you mean?
he coercive? Was he an asshole? Was it bad? Was it good?
Wasn't good.
He wasn't good
Um,
looking. He was a dickhead and it wasn't good. Sammy. I'm just kidding.
I remember there being some like coerciveness, but I also but it was like short-lived at the beginning,
Hmm.
and then it was like after, and then it was like he was hard to get.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean? Like it was like at the
Mm-hmm.
beginning, it was like I should, cause of, like,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? Like trying to convince me to do things, and then later it was like he had zero interest in me, like the lingerie I'm in the middle of a quest story. I know, right? Like, the only thing my husband could be in the middle of doing right now that he would say no to is using a saw, because when he's using a saw, he's not paying attention to anything else. But I guarantee the second that saw was put down, he'd be like, "Yeah, I'm not doing anything right now. Let's go." There's no chance.
Using a saw. Oh my God. That's so funny. Mine was incredibly coercive.
Oh
Like,
yeah, can you tell? You told me the story. Can you tell the story of what he would say about sex,
um,
or do you not want to?
no, I don't care. Um, it's your chance to tune out, mother. Um, I he was very coercive and was very like, I'm in my prime and we're in a relationship, so you owe me. And um it didn't matter if I felt like it or didn't feel like it. It didn't matter if I was tired, didn't matter. And
If you were on your period.
oh, he would get so mad. Like, what? You just had your period. Like, yes, a month ago. That's how it works. Or like, how many days has it been? Like, he would get angry if my period would last any amount of time. Like, he would get mad if my period lasted longer. And he would start like at the end of my period, he would get like really angry and be just wanting me to do other things for him because like I would owe him that because like how dare I be on my period for this amount of time and not what is he supposed to do when I'm on my period? How is he supposed to, take care of himself? Right? Like he was very rude and coercive and I think like I was just so young and I don't know. Like I look back and I'm like again, I'm like why would I accept that? Like, why? I don't know if I just thought that that's how relationships were, and he was convincing me that that's how relationships were, or I don't know. But um, I remember certainly at the end of that, that was a relief to not have that pressure because
Yeah.
it was just always pressure. There was always a pressure. Like, I could just never comfortably be like, I'm tired and I want to go to bed. I
Yeah.
would like I'd always have to have a plan. Like if I didn't want to have sex and I was going to bed, I would have to have some sort of plan, like fake sleeping or fake sick or like,
That's so heartbreaking.
and I remember being like, yeah,
How old were you when you dated him? You were like 22 or 20.
yeah, early 20s, I want to
Yeah.
say.
I think you guys
Yeah.
broke up right before I met you. Or maybe you were still, no, you were still dating
Mm.
when I met you.
Yeah, we were dating. Uh, we dated until like Doug did not waste time. Like
Oh, okay.
in we broke up in January and Doug started asking me out like right away and I said no until March and then finally said yes in March. But he asked me out like immediately. But we broke up in January because my dad had stage 4 throat cancer and he was living up at the hospital. They have like a facility that you can live in when you're going through your treatments, if your treatments are like back to back to back. And he was in an intense chemo and radiation treatment program. And so he didn't have to drive back and forth. They stayed there. And I had gone up to visit him and I was getting these like seething, awful text messages about like, how dare I skip out on date night to go visit my dad? Because like I'm choosing somebody else over him and he was really angry. And that was the moment where I was like that everything shifted for me in that moment because before that time, I remember once leaving my family farm or leaving my family's place. We'd had family dinner and which was something that he was really against and is something that I started going to less when we were going out. And I remember leaving once and my mom stopped me. I was on my way to the car And my mom stopped me and she was like, Melissa, you know you're not stuck, right? And I remember turning around and being like, and I also don't know why we do this. Insulted, like, yeah, of course. Like, I'm fine. I'm an adult. I'm fine. I'm taking care of myself. Like, oh God, like kind of like, ugh. But inside, like, thank you, mom. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I was grateful. But, anyways, so fast forward to January, and I'm like, and I'm getting these messages, and he was so angry that I would dare go visit my dad on date night. And I remember in the moment, something broke for me because like there was clearly red flags before that. I don't remember them all now. I
Mm-hmm.
don't remember the manipulations. I don't remember. I remember some throwing of things, and I remember an intense anger a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I remember um like a lot of controlling behavior, but a lot of anger. I remember a lot of anger, but for some reason, everything to this point, I could justify or I could find the other side. Like I could see his perspective. I could step in and see, like, oh, yeah, I could understand why he's mad about that. Or I understand he's tired or he's frustrated or this thing is going on in his life or whatever. I could make it okay.
Mm-hmm.
I could justify around it and make it okay. I could empathize with him somehow. But this one, I was like, this is pretty black and white.
Yeah.
You do not get mad at your girlfriend for going to visit her father in cancer treatment. Like that's just a full black and white no. Like
Yeah.
that's like you can't, nobody is going to say, "Oh, yeah, you should have gone to date night." Like nobody.
Yeah. Nobody. No.
If you do, you're a fucking psycho.
Yeah.
Like, so like that was the moment for me that I was like, "No, this one is clearly wrong. This one he's clearly being a dick right now." And I was up there visiting them and I remember my dad was because the radiation was at his throat. He could barely talk. His mouth was so dry. He was in a lot of pain and he couldn't talk really.
Mm-hmm.
And I look over and he was like doing this motion. Like he was like, oops, jeepers, springs. He was kind of doing this motion with his body. And I was like, Mom, what's he doing? And he was just looking at me doing this. And I was like, what is he doing? And I'm trying to figure it out. And he looks up at me and he goes, get in the boat, Melissa. Get in the damn boat. And he was saying, you need to leave this relationship. And I went home and I broke up with him that night. And I drove out. I was actually staying at my parents' place, taking care of their place while they were up at the hospital. And it was out of town. And I remember being out there and it's nighttime. And which is not hard in January because it could have been 6 p.m. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah.
6 p.m. or midnight. No, I do remember it was late. I do remember it was late. Like it was like midnight or more than that. But I was out there and it was dark and I could see headlights coming from town. And it is like a straight shot from town. Like,
Yeah.
so you can see headlights leaving. Like I can see the headlights leaving from town until they reach that farm.
Yeah.
And I saw the headlights and I was like, please don't be him. Please don't be, please don't be him. Please don't be him. And it was him. And he showed up at the farm in the middle of the night to beg me to come back to him. And I don't know. That was a moment I could have called the police for sure. I should have called the police the minute I saw the headlights and gone, I think I'm in danger. I don't know for sure, but you could maybe beat him here.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, like I could have absolutely called the police. I knew in my gut that it was him. And it was. And he showed up right on the doorstep and I had no defenses. Like I'm there, like it is the middle of Nowhereville. Nobody's around. Dangerous.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Did he
Like
do anything or he just was?
he just yelled at me on the deck. I didn't let him in the house. He just kind of yelled at me and berated me and was trying to get me to come back to him and was mad at me for breaking up with him. But that was,
That's definitely
and
the
then
way
he
to do
left.
it. If someone breaks up with you, you definitely
Oh,
yell and berate them and
for
scare
sure.
them. That's absolutely how you win somebody
Scare them
back.
into submission, for sure.
It's
Morons.
wild. It's so weird to think about how, I mean, we've been talking for a long time now, so we should probably wrap this episode, but
Probably.
it's so weird to think about how you can end up in these situations. Do you know what I mean? Like you're saying, I don't remember the manipulation that got me there, and neither do I. And
Yeah.
I don't remember like this crazy romance. I don't remember this like
Mm-hmm.
this I don't remember any of that. It was
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And so it's
Yeah.
so weird how you
Mm-hmm.
just get there and then you're like, what
what just
happened?
happened?
What
Yeah.
just happened?
And I think it's important to say, like, and we've heard this in all of the stories that we listen to, and this is an important thing for people to know about domestic violence is they don't start there.
Mm-hmm.
They don't start yelling at you in the car. They
Mm-hmm.
don't start following you walking to work. They don't start telling you you can't go to your family's house. They don't start that way.
Mm-hmm.
It's so slow and you just don't even see it coming. It's like, you see those Instagram videos where the guy is wearing a blue shirt and at the end of it he's wearing a green shirt. Have you seen that one?
Mm-mm.
And he does like this slow transition, but he does it so smoothly. And he's like talking. He gets to the end and he's like, you didn't even notice that I changed my shirt. And it's like, what? And then you go back to the beginning. Oh my God, he was wearing a blue shirt. Oh my God. You don't even see it happening because he does it so slowly. And I think that is the catch. That's the real thing with domestic violence that I think is so important for people to understand. Number one, they don't start that way. They don't hit you in the face on your first date.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, it does not just happen. It does not happen to weak, subservient people.
Mm-hmm.
It happens to the
Anybody.
strong. It happens to the empathetic. It happens if you're whatever color you are, whatever walk of life you are, whatever, it happens to everybody. And I don't know what the answer is except to equip our children with confidence and the confidence to call the police in those moments and the confidence to know in their heart what's right and wrong and to
Mm-hmm.
listen to it,
I think
you
that
know?
comes to, not to get into parenting here, but I think
Mm.
that comes to allowing your children to question you as a parent.
Oof, that is so hard.
Do you know what I mean? Like when they're like, Mom,
Why? I
that's
don't,
not
because I
okay.
freaking said so. Just listen to me. I don't have the energy for this right now, but you're right.
You're right, right? Because
Yeah,
they need to be
100%.
able to question authority, period. And not that a boyfriend is authority, girlfriend is authority, but you can see them that way. I just
Mm-hmm.
remembered another thing that he did when you were like, oh, like he didn't throw anything. I remember he threw his cat across the room once.
His
Yeah,
cat?
his cat.
Oh my God.
Like grabbed it and chucked it and it hit the wall on
He's a
the other side.
full-on psychopath, Sammy.
Yeah.
It hit the wall?
Mm-hmm. I
Oh
remember getting up to go check and make sure it was okay.
my God.
It was
He
fine. But
absolutely was minutes from kicking the shit out of you. Really? Do you think, like, what would have happened if you would have stayed in that relationship?
oh my gosh, eventually I would have been hit, I'm sure. I mean, he never did get, I mean, outside of the elbow after we broke up, he never did get physical with me like during.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't even, I mean, I'm sure other than, I remember him yelling at me in the face. Um, like that
I
one time,
saw I
but
saw
yeah.
something. Somebody said something on it was another social media thing and it said something about that yelling in the face thing. Like if somebody's yelling at your in your face, you are in danger. That is their next step.
100% because it's so easy to,
Mm-hmm.
you're so close already,
Yeah.
right? Like
You've already lost it.
I
You're
had
already
that happen,
over the
yeah,
line.
with someone else in my life when they were yelling at me in the face, and it turned into a slap across one cheek and then a slap across the other cheek and then being like pinned down to the floor.
Oh my
Now it
God.
was like not somebody I was dating; it was someone else. But
Still domestic violence.
yeah, it was domestic violence. I was pinned down and slammed my head into the ground multiple times, fingernails in my cheek. Yeah, so it is so easy to go from that yelling in someone's face to physical violence. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I just encourage people to stick through this month, and there's going to be more episodes this month than we normally release. Take your time and listen to them. Listen with care.
Mm-hmm.
If you are a person experiencing domestic violence, please reach out to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Do not suffer this in silence because you are not alone. There are a lot of people that have experienced it or are experiencing it. There are hotlines. There are
Yep.
free resources.
There are safe houses.
There are safe houses and shelters that you can go to, and we are going to be talking to one of them on here. That's in the High River area, and you can go and have a conversation about somebody, and they can validate, yes, this is what you're going through, or maybe this is a different resource that you need. They
Mm-hmm.
will point you in the right direction. There are people out there that will help, judgment free,
Yeah.
and something it, I'm on a soapbox here, Sammy, for a sec, but something that is so very important is if you feel like you are not telling your close people the full truth of your relationship, that is a red flag. And you
Yep.
need to check yourself and ask yourself why you are hiding details about your relationship to your safe, close people, and keep your people close. Like, keep
That
your
is
people close
such a
to
good piece of
you.
advice.
Do not let your people, um, don't allow distance in your relationships. Keep your people close to you. Keep those relationships nourished, and allow them to help you. One thing that I heard somebody say once that I thought was really important is sit down and really consider one person. You don't have to tell everybody right away, but sit down and think about one person that is your safest person that you can really trust, that isn't going to go telling everybody else. And you need to sit down with that person and tell them everything that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And then you need to make a plan.
Yeah.
But yeah, but you're not alone.
You're
There are
not
a lot
alone.
of people.
I'm going to repeat what you just said. If ever you're hiding a piece of your relationship from your closest people, or if your closest people become distant because of your new relationship, you need to sit down and really ask questions about that. Did they become distant because I'm genuinely happy and having a good time, or was I pulled away from them?
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm not telling them things about my relationship, why?
Yeah.
And if it's to protect the other person, it's not safe.
Yeah.
There should be nothing hidden like that.
Absolutely.
Doesn't
And
mean you can't have privacy. It means that,
of
like,
course,
if you're afraid to tell them because the other person will look bad, or
yeah,
it'll look bad in your relationship, then you're in an unsafe relationship.
yeah. So for the viewers at home, because if you're listening this, you might not even notice anything. But for the viewers at home that are noticing maybe my picture changes, I'm just having some power issues with my computer, and so we started on my phone, and with my. I'm so happy my microphone plugs into my phone. Anyways, started on my phone, went to the computer died, back to, and here we are. So, what I was gonna say is, just because I think this is also really an important piece of this is if you are a person that is maybe suspect that somebody around you is experiencing domestic violence, there is also a ton of resource and information out there for you as well.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest thing is to keep them close and shower them in love. Do not give up on them. But also don't shove them closer into the relationship. So you don't want to just go super strong into, like, I think the intervention that you had with those girls was super good for you, and you were in the moment that you could hear them. But if they caught you in the wrong moment, that could have been dangerous, because it could have, I'm not saying they shouldn't have done that. I'm really glad that they did, but it just happened at the perfect time. Because if they did that when you were still in like the clouds with it, it may have shoved you closer to him and further from them.
Yeah.
So like you got to be kind of careful, but just stay close and don't give up. And also I believe, and we could maybe ask the Rowan House when we have this conversation, that I believe there's resources through shelters as well for you. Like if you're like, I am suspect that somebody I am close with is in a domestic violence situation, I don't know what to do, contact a shelter, contact a hotline, and let them walk you through it. Because they will have resources to help you through that too. So yeah, I just want to say that keep your people close.
Yes. So we encourage you to listen.
Sammi.
It's just like any other awareness episode month that we've had. The stories can be really hard to hear, but we encourage you to listen to them anyways, especially if you want to learn how you can get out or how you can help somebody who's in one.
100%. And keep the conversation going. Like we'll be pretty active on social media. We've got a lot of content prepared for you about domestic violence, and we'll be kind of on stories and available to chat. So, like we can keep the conversation going on social media to comment on any of the stuff or DM us and keep chatting about this. So
you betcha.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. To help support the growth of this podcast, please feel free to leave us a review, follow us on socials, or recommend us to your friends. Your support honestly means the world to us. With love, Sammi and Melissa.